so.
I didn't even know you fucking couldn't hear me.
No, I couldn't hear. I was just like, Matt.
No, before that, like when you were going, I'd talk in between, and I must have been hitting it right because about 3 times I talked, and you picked right in where I was going, and then I was just short little statements in the pauses, I guess, and then I realized I was talking to nobody because you couldn't hear me.
No, I literally couldn't hear shit. Like there was nothing that was going on from a volume standpoint whatsoever. But ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Sorry about that. I wanted to make sure that I had my buddy over here so I could actually have like somebody to talk to besides making material constantly by myself, which I didn't mind because I'm good at it, but still.
To pick up on where I wanted to pick up at, you can't have a fucking fair market evaluation on a company that just posted fucking decades record numbers.
No.
In a 5-day stretch. I mean, how do you fair market that?
You don't.
And as far as like any dilution and stuff goes, I believe the only current dilution that they could do is the current offerings that were already on the table before this January deal was made with Deep Deutsche Bank.
Yeah.
Because until that closes, you're pretty much locked into no.
You're not diluting shit.
Dilution or nothing. You can't really do anything. I mean, that's your thing. You got to close that.
I mean, realistically, you're not going to dilute at these numbers anyway.
No, I don't see it.
It's just impossible. But like, even so, like to even mention that.
I mean, but currently they do have authorization up to that 580 million float mark.
Totally understand. Totally, completely different situation from what what I'm reading from Shills, because that.
Yes, they're trying to make it like they have all the shares that they're just going to throw out the market. No,
they definitely don't have that. And then on top of them not having that, then they start, oh, look at AMC, it has a little blip up, and then but it's only 80% is going to alternative trading sites / dark pools, and it kind of puts a damper in your narrative. What are you talking about? Like that doesn't do anything. There's still you still have to have a buy. There still has to be a sell. There's still mechanics involved.
You have to match.
Yeah.
Even if it's synthetically, you have to match a synthetic long with that to sell that synthetic created short too. So you zero balance the wash trade. It's basically an unclosed. A necked's just an unclosed wash where they give you an IOU and they take the short side of that, and your gain is their loss, and their loss is your gain on a zero balanced out ledger of synthetic exposure.
Yeah.
No different than a derivative. All a derivative
it's the exact same.
Is 100 shares per contract of these naked long, naked short condor.
It's the exact
zero
same.
Balance hedges.
It's the exact same. There's no difference.
And then a basket is just a multitude of derivatives across different index companies within the same index balance portfolio, being bilaterally traded between institutions.
Hey, I did tell you that
what do they call
don't have to worry about that.
Spot.
Yeah, but hold on. Hayden just put in there, what happened to being below $1? Oops. Yeah, exactly. I remember saying it, though, is that, listen, I have a feeling that you're going to have a reversal real soon. Don't you worry.
I mean, for the most part, I'm just kind of like sitting back and and enjoying the ride, because at this point, what are you going to do?
The ride's going to be fantastic. I can tell you that, because, I mean, there's so much. And I'm going to go over all that later, because I'm going to show you, like I did the last time, when I talked about AMC, GME, the mechanical way what happens when you actually have all these multipliers that come into play. I'm going to go over all that with you too. So this way you have something nice and cozy to go ahead and put your head on a pillow and think about, because it's just going
Well,
to
the
be
crazy thing is, all the chart mechanics are basically just a reflection of the options chain. If
oh
you know
yeah,
how to read an options chain, then you know what the fucking mechanics are going to do.
true. I still think though, if I'm going back just over my like the weekend on Twitter or Twitter and other social media platforms, I think honestly, I saw some dumb things that were being said, but your guy, I mean, I'm just gonna say his name. I don't really care, but Nicholas, oh my Jesus!
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit! I
I
mean,
was wondering if you actually saw the shit that he was posting.
oh yeah, I trust me, I read all of it because I'm like, okay, is this guy really that bad? Or I'm like, oh my god! And then I saw the
Nick,
video attached to it.
Saint Nick has no pantalones.
Wow. I mean, uber wow. Like that I mean, that was the cheese. I mean, that not the good type of cheese. We're talking like the Famunda cheese. Like whatever he was trying to tout there was not
No,
worth it.
here's what gets me. He touts what, 19 years?
Okay, I'm in for 20. Your point is?
My point is the dude looks like he's about fucking 35 years old tops.
Mhm.
That means so he was they put him on a fucking Wall Street trading desk trading derivatives at fucking 21, 22.
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
First, and that's like that would be like straight out of college unless you graduated at 16.
No. I don't see that happening. I don't think they're going to trust derivatives, or I mean, well, they were backhanded deals that didn't have any real regulation, and they were kind of just like, oh, hey, let's write this on paper and see what happens, like that type of thing.
Like generally speaking, even if you were qualified at that age and you got on Wall Street somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're going to be at a trading desk. You're not going to be at a derivatives trading desk.
No.
You're gonna get your feet wet at a trading computer, just trading markets like dollars, probably not even fucking just equity shares.
Well, Matt, if you could take a look while we're here, I would love a good laugh. Uh, Check out useless underscore cog, aka Reaper. I mean, I've literally read a
On
bunch of it.
X.
Yeah, I've read a bunch of his shit recently too, and he's been, I'm not gonna
Reaper.
lie, yeah, kind of comical.
What's the at? Because that ain't gonna pop up on mine because I don't remember that name.
I think it's useless underscore cog.
Useless. Useless elf. Useless coin. I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, Reaper. Got you. Oh, poster protected. I'm blocked.
oh, what a shock. That's because he doesn't want anybody intelligent answering.
Him and his 274 followers and
You're screwing up my narrative. You can't say that. No.
Well, he's operating from the shadows of his picture.
I'll give you a shadow. The shadow around the corner.
Shadow banking.
Oh, I mean, some of this stuff is just outlandish. I mean, it really is. And the outlandish part that I've noticed is more so. I mean, it's definitely Shill Corner 101, but like everything else has just been. I mean, just stupid. And I'm talking about from like politics, like the politics that are going on right now are just absolutely dumb. All of them. They really are. And it's making everything worse. Like, especially Mr. Burns Powell. Like, anything that's come out of his mouth has been just, I mean, hoopla garbage. Oh yeah, let's talk about the labor numbers. Oh yeah, the private sector hasn't given one job, not one. What? We have a labor problem. No shit. Did you come up with that yourself?
You know, it was a nice thing that I saw on Twitter, and I don't know if it was meant to be supportive
Okay, what's that?
of what we've been saying for like years.
A bunch of them.
Cassandra,
Oh yeah. Go on.
Michael Berry.
Yeah.
He posted shirts aren't forever.
It's true. Isn't that because of his position though that he
That's
has?
what I mean. That's exactly our squeeze is that you can't fucking hold on. You can't hide them forever. All matters must settle, right?
Yeah, they have to. I mean, that's the cardinal rule. Last time I checked.
So on a good note, and then people were wondering if he was flipping long on his NVIDIA Palantir or whatever shorts.
Probably not.
No, I don't. Not in this fucking market. I don't see him doing that.
No.
Berkshire's got what 328 billion and sitting on cash now.
Yeah, a lot, buku money. And let's rephrase that. Buku money that's still tied into treasuries, about 172 billion worth. Used to be 186, but now it's 172 of that big old nest egg that's not derivative or not derivative treasury backed. So he's still holding a shit ton of treasuries.
So here's I'm not sure. I'm gonna try something. Hopefully I don't lose it. I'll have to come back again maybe. I gotta look at all tabs because have you ever heard of Adenza?
Like Costanza?
No, Adenza Group.
No idea.
It's a software application provided specializing in capital markets, investing management, central banking, risk management, clearing, collateral, and treasury and liquidity. They're an integrated suite of trading and risk applications used by banks and other financial companies.
When was that? When did this get implicated? Because
all right, so
or implemented.
When you go to it in November of 2023, it was acquired by NASDAQ.
Okay.
Its owners are Bridgepoint Capital, Summit Partners, Thoma Bravo, and up till now NASDAQ from 23 to present.
Okay.
It's a partnership of Mr. No Pants Nicholas Company. Previously known as Axiom and Calypso.
The story, the plot thickens.
So now you know exactly why he's in our media plan.
Oh, of course we do now. Narrative jumping. Here we go. It's almost as bad as the Denaro. I mean, Francesi. I mean, no, Denaro. No, Francesi.
The cheese? And it's not even hidden.
Oh, the cheese. Cheese. Got it. Cheese. Yeah. I don't know. The amount of, I mean, why even pay a company? Why would you pay Google that amount of money to erase you? Like, honestly. Are you that ashamed of you? I mean, I know I love my name. Shit. I got 2 first names. One's last. It's great. But still,
Don't look at me. I'm just crazy.
yeah, I don't know. Do you know what? Average cost to get your information deleted from Google is like 40 grand. Did you know that? That's absurd.
Well, when you got people that need their information deleted, guess what? You pay the extortion fee.
Yeah, definitely, evidently. You know, you might as well just throw it out there. It's okay. Yeah, but there's no. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. It really is. I mean,
But I mean, the thing is, how many corporations are actually paying on behalf of their employees to have their information deleted in order to allow them to operate in the shadows without any true acknowledgement or ability for people to actually see what the fuck who they're dealing with.
I'm gonna the cohodes.
A lot of them.
I mean, the original band of misfits.
That's the best way to know. If they're being corporate funded back, right?
Oh yeah.
You're not going to find anything on them on social media, not because they can afford to fucking hide themselves, but because whoever they're working for is paying to hide them.
What about the hairdresser? There's another one. Yeah, the list goes on and on. I mean, they just it's kind of funny because you start, because there's certain apps, there's certain things that you can go ahead and you can venture into, or like been verified is a good one, especially if you get the jailbroken version of it. So this way, it actually uses social media names to go ahead and actually look up people. For example, like if you had questions about certain individuals that are, you know, shills, bashers, that sort of thing. Yeah, great little tool to have. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But you can go ahead and you can start there, but that should be able to feed you some information in regards to who people are or what they're meant for. Because you'll start to see that information is not there. And then you go and you look up somebody, like, let's just say you were doing a test. And so you tried, you know, girlfriend, wife, somewhere along those lines. You tell them, hey, I'm going to look your stuff up just real quick, just to see if you pop up. And you pop up. So you know it's working. Then you go ahead and you look at somebody else's that you know is a person. You've heard them talk. Everything. And nothing's there. That's someone being hidden. There's a reason why they're being hidden. Your dum-dum and my dum-dum were definitely not being hidden. Because they were dumb. And dum-dum. So, yeah, it's perfect time. Dum-dum of the week.
For what?
He brought his own title for this.
That's not a good sign. You understand why you're here.
Yeah, I earned it.
Well, I mean,
really believe
there was
that.
a reason I
That's
got
the
my
problem.
resume and my actual
Let's make it official.
I'm ready.
For what?
He
brought his own title. That's this. You understand why you're a good sign?
Yeah,
Somebody else.
I earned it. He really believes that. This is earned.
No. Pray you don't.
He doesn't?
This is not random. This is earned. Then this.
Then this is official.
This is earned.
I know.
No, you don't.
I'm ready.
For what?
He brought his own title.
That's not a good sign. You understand why you're here.
Yeah, he really believes that. I earned it.
That's the problem. Then let's make it official. That's a good one. You've got to be kidding me.
He pressed it. I meant to.
Casualty that CSAP. Are you even listening to me?
Are you listening to me?
Error.
I'm so dumb.
You're too dumb to argue.
That's your victory song. You keep yelling that you're right while we all sing along. I'm so dumb, king of Clown Town, cloud paper crown on your head. While we
Train
call
breathe.
you
I'm a dumb-ass shill on XX.
stand up, take a bow, so proud of being dumb. Wear that paper crown, dumb, dumb.
Oh, here, hey, here.
We read your tweet out loud on the AMCAK show. Dum Dum of the Week. Wear that paper crown.
That's not a joke? No. You chose that on purpose. Yeah, it's honest. Walk me through the decision. It was the best version of that. He printed it. I wanted people to know where I signed it. And this, he believes it. That's the strongest part. I do. I earned this. No, you didn't. He thinks he did. This is why you're here.
You hit a brand new low.
Dum Dum of the Week. Oh, I love that. I love this. This is my favorite time of the show. And you know what, Matt? I'm going to take the honors this week, and I'm going to go first. My Dum Dum of the Week happens to go out to a dumbass. He is bald, very bald, and JLP. So JLP decides to go ahead and say, how long will CEO Adam wait around before announcing a massive AMC share dilution? You know, he and his team have a top in mind. You know, when the top is in, when he announces a dilution, he's got debts to pay. Pay attention. Don't get too giddy yet. Well, first things first, he can't go ahead and do a share dilution, especially with the contract with Deutsche Bank right now. So that's not even in play. That's first and foremost. He does have the right to go ahead and whatever access shares that he currently has on his shelf, if he wanted to go sell those into the market. But he's not doing that at these numbers. Let's be realistic. But don't worry, it gets better. So right after that tweet, here's another one. Amazing that AMC is up 11% today, even though 70% of all trades are off exchange. Kind of blows all kind of holes in the dummies theory, doesn't it? Really? Well, since Friday, we're up 27%, roughly. Give or take a couple of points. But there's that. Then on top of that, you have just the simple fact that everything has to be marked to market. So like everything has to match. So if you have a buy, there's a sell. If you have this, you have that. Even if it's synthetic, it doesn't matter. Still have to match up between the bid and the ask. So why does this 70% even matter? I'm bald. I mean, that's what I'm getting out of it, is that I'm bald and I don't understand market mechanics, and I'm trying to go ahead and just confuse anybody just because that's what I'm here to do. And for somebody that's not invested in AMC, he sure does pay a whole hell of a lot of attention. Just for that simple fact. Which, yeah, no big deal. We'll just forget about that part. It doesn't make sense. Like, that's the biggest thing to me, is that why, if you don't have a position, why do you give a rat's ass? That's first and foremost. Like, I don't give a crap what you guys are invested in. I really don't. But if you are invested in a stock that I'm invested in, kudos. Congrats. You know, is that everything that I'm doing? Probably not, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to sit there and tell you about your, even if I was on the opposite side, I would be like, I don't care. If it goes against the market mechanics, if it goes against what I know and understand and what I've learned and, you know, basic history of what I've been through for the last 20 years, that's a different story. But this is not. This is pretty damn simple. JL, we're going to change your name to JL Baldy. You are my dum-dum of the week. And Matt.
Yeah, well, since I pretty much already said who it is.
That's okay. You say it again.
It is. I gotta pull it up.
Nicholas.
It's Pantano.
There you go.
Pantano.
Oh, the pan.
Nicholas A. Pantano, or as I'll refer to him as Saint Nicholas No Pants.
That's a good one too.
Nicholas
A. Pantano.
He works. He's supposedly a career Wall Street. Supposedly worked with a technology company that was bought by different companies and sold forward till it found top shelf, settled in NASDAQ bottom. The tech company with which his company is a partner with, which is, I don't know, kind of strange. He showed up in Twitter, or at least according to Join Twitter, was October 22. Huh, ironic. It's that like 30, 60 day clearance window post ape issuance into ape existence.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to see there.
No, of course
not. The fact
not.
that I've never fucking heard of the guy, even after all this time in our space, now all of a sudden he's showing up on my Twitter timeline.
In your feed?
In my feed, and along with all these other, who the fuck are these people, sort of raises the hair on the back of my neck sort of thing. The fact that he says he has 19 years experience on Wall Street and derivatives trading, and the technology is bank derivatives, options, exposures, central banks, trading strategies, and cover strategies, and
hey, Matt, real
all
quick,
that stuff. Just, I mean, all the red flags just say, yeah, all right, you're here for one purpose.
Hold on, Matt.
Either on your own behalf.
I got his strategies down real quick for you, and you might laugh about it.
Go for it.
The Triple Lindy.
And that was before AI generated videos.
Yes, correct. That was Ronnie Dangerfield, ladies and gentlemen. The Triple Lindy. Ah.
Yeah. And that goes to just show there's multiple purposes and multiple angles that you can clearly, after all this time, hopefully, you've learned to read the flags.
Hey, you know what? I do have one other strategy that he might be really good at. And it's probably going to be blatantly obvious to everybody, but that's okay.
These days, running a small business can be a big challenge. Whether we're receiving a flower delivery for unclear reasons, or raising the blinds and flipping over the open-closed sign, which is how I spend most of my workday, or even making a latte for a black woman, an iced tea for a white woman, and a coffee for a gently brown guy who could go in a lot of different directions. We've got our hands full. That's why Chase Bank is here for us. When this man in a suit from Chase Bank came down and shook my hand at my place of business, it really solidified what we'd already talked about at his office. Now we're looking at a laptop like my stupid little coffee shop is going to be a big disruptor in the online space. And my Chase business card allows me to make those emergency purchases that I lose sleep at night over. Chase understands my business the way they understand all businesses, as a huge reverse funnel that shoves money upwards to them. Hey, another flower delivery. These'll look great in the bathroom while I'm pooping blood from the stress. Now I'm flipping over that open-closed sign again. Is that a new stadium with Chase's name on it? How'd they afford that? I'll be in this bathroom for a while. Better toss it to the announcer.
At Chase Bank, we're about more than just foreclosing on American servicemen while overseas. We're about small business. So when you think of Chase, don't think of the 2008 financial crash. Think of your local sympathetic small business.
Flower delivery.
Yeah, guys, we're good on flowers for a while.
I mean, you can't get better. Come on. That was a perfect one.
Except you forget that I can't hear the videos during the live.
Doesn't matter.
So I'll catch after.
Doesn't matter. Still, the applause that we are getting from the Twitter sphere, we're saying all the right things, so it works out great. And so it's funny though, because
can I nominate my runner up for my nomination?
Sure.
The one that didn't make the cut that I was battling with is Mr. I'm GME now, fuck AMC Froggy Spence, who's basically got the fucking shaft from the AMC crew after the last fucking ape shenanigan bullshit that he pulled on the community.
He got the shaft.
So now he's trying to weasel his way into the GME fucking crowd, which who knows, he might actually work out there, since them, and I won't say all, but
he's got to love that
get
shaft.
into that part of the crowd that's the GME elitist, because they love anybody that seems to hate AMC, which is right where he belongs with them fucking clowns.
He likes the shaft. He's got to love that shaft. Yeah. Evidently.
It was a tough decision.
That, you know what? I'd be breaking thumbs over that decision all day, just because. But it's funny because it does actually kind of tie us into what we're going to go over today. And I really did kind of take my time in actually going through our macro battlefield that we've already laid out for you, and basically kind of went through all the things that are happening. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the Japanese negative carry trade this week. I'm just not going to talk about it, because as of right now, if you guys are paying attention to it, you know that the 10-year is hit a new record, or hasn't hit it since 29 years. So a long time. It's been the highest it's ever been. So
that's
now,
a lot of tenure.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of tenure are free. A free 99. But that's about to explode. Private credit, it's whatever. They cooled it down for what? A brief moment. That's going to climb up real fast. It doesn't matter. You have everything that's falling apart around you. And as oil and the cost per barrel continues to rise, because it is continued to rising, and it's going to rise, and it's going to go to astronomical heights, to be perfectly honest with you.
You know what's crazy about that? U.S. oil price versus Brent crude and the other ones.
Okay. No, I mean I
the
get
US,
it.
The USO ETF is pushing what, 129?
Yeah. What did we say?
128, 129.
Didn't we look at it on Thursday or Friday?
Over the weekend.
Okay.
Friday night, I think we looked at it after close.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It was,
I-
I remember you were at like either
I can tell you
131 or
exactly.
129. I can't remember which one it was.
Well, I know it broke 29 again midday today.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 139.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, it bounced way back up. It's up over 140 in the after hours now.
Oh, beautiful.
It was 140, 138.94 close from a 140 dip in the last, like, no, that was the 8 o'clock close. The market closed 138.94. So it's literally bouncing around.
It's up, down, left, right. It's going to keep on going hog wild soon.
135 to 140.
Do you know what else is going to be going hog wild here shortly? Silver again.
Oh yeah, because them contracts are coming due on the quarterly.
Besides the quarterly contract, the actual the difference between China and paper, it's like 150 to whatever Comics has it at. It's a stupid difference.
And on a new note, market sentiment hit the all-time low of fear factor at 25.
But all this, honestly, it's sunny skies for you guys, to be perfectly honest with you. Sunshines and lollipops, because this is where, honestly, this is how this shit gets fun. AMC, welcome to the strongest weak economy in history. Please keep your hands inside the vehicle while it collapses. Welcome to the strongest weak economy in history, a magical place where the headlines swear everything is resilient. Hold on. The politicians swear everything is stable. And the Federal Reserve swears they have it under control, all while the actual data is standing behind them, waving a flare gun and screaming, the house is on fire. You picked a hell of a moment to ask for a big picture report, because the mask is slipping, the makeup is melting, and the soft landing narrative is starting to look like a hostage video. The numbers aren't whispering anymore. They're shouting. And what they're shouting is simple. Something is broken, and the people in charge know it. So let's start with the labor market, the crown jewel of the everything is fine, quote unquote, propaganda machine. For 2 years, we've been told that the job market is historically strong, shockingly resilient, and the envy of the world. But then Jerome, Mr. Burns Powell, my favorite, America's most soft-spoken arson investigator, quietly admitted something last month that should have detonated across every news outlet in the country. After adjusting the statistical overcounting, yes, they admitted that too, the real numbers of new private sector jobs being created is 0. Not slowing, not cooling, 0. Flatline, dead battery, the economic equivalent of a pulse check where the nurse looked up and says, huh? But don't worry, the headlines say everything is stable. And the data backs him up. The hiring rate fell to 3.1%, a level we've only seen twice in modern history. April 2020, when the world shut down, and 2008, when the financial system imploded like a wet paper bag. We are 0.3 percentage points away from the 2008 level hiring collapse. But don't worry, the headlines say everything is stable. stable. Sure. And I'm the Queen of England. And here's the fun part. When hiring was this week in 2010, unemployment was 9.7%. Today, it's 4.4%. That mismatch isn't a miracle. It's a malfunction. It means the job market is deteriorating in slow motion without the usual warning lights flashing on the dashboard. The engine is seizing, but the check engine light is politely pretending everything is fine. The quit rates down to 1.9%, the lowest since the pandemic. Translation for the normal humans: people aren't quitting because they're terrified there's nowhere else to go. Employers aren't firing people in masses yet, but they've quietly stopped hiring, stopped replacing, and stopped expanding. Mr. Burns Powell calls it a zero employment growth equilibrium, which is central banker code for we're worried, we don't know how to fix it, and we appreciate it if you didn't panic. This isn't a soft landing. Meanwhile, the government is standing there like a parent, insisting that the family vacation is going to be great, while the minivan is on fire and rolling backwards down a hill. They're letting this slow motion wreck continue because they need inflation more than they need you comfortable. They need debt to shrink in real terms. They need asset prices to stay inflated. They need the illusion of stability long enough to survive the next election cycle. And if that means the average American gets squeezed until their wallet squeaks, well, that's just the cost of doing business in the land of the free and the home of the financially repressed. And just when you think the plot couldn't get any dumber, the geopolitical scriptwriters crank the chaos dial. The war drags on longer than expected. Oil markets tighten, and suddenly the scenario of $160 to $200 barrels of oil isn't a fringe theory. It's something major banks are actively stress testing because they know what happens next. Gas at $10 plus, inflation roaring back, the Fed trapped, mortgage rates spiking, housing cracking, markets convulsing, and the elites realizing the controlled demolition they thought they could choreograph is turning into a full-blown structural collapse. This is the backdrop. This is the stage. This is the moment where hedge funds, banks, and family offices, those self-proclaimed masters of the universe, discover that leverage cuts both ways. Liquidity isn't guaranteed, and the system they built to protect themselves is now a maze with no exits. And in the middle of this chaos sits the heavily shorted stocks of AMC, GME, and the rest, quietly waiting for the moment when the market plumbing backs up, the shorts get margin called, and the meme stocks narratives gets replaced with something far more dangerous: forced buying in a liquidity crisis. So buckle up, because if you think this introduction is intense, wait until we dive into the labor market autopsy, the Fed's quiet confession, the war-driven oil shock, the metals leverage trap, and the systemic consequences that follow. This isn't a soft landing. This is a slow-motion collision, and the people driving the bus are pretending they don't see the wall. And now, without the mask slipping and the stage is set, Let's walk straight into the first fracture point, the labor market signal that exposes the entire illusion. Hey, I'm Jerome, Mr. Burns' pal. Hey. The Fed's managed decline. Smells like a broken septic tank, and Mr. Burns Powell is holding the hose. Hey, there's the economy. I love, Matt, you gotta love the Mr. Burns Powell from The Simpsons. Tell me that ain't strong.
There's always good ones for Simpsons, and
But how I was able to combine the two. Look at that picture.
yep.
It's so perfect. Welcome to the
I've seen some good ones where they used him to represent the old Genzer too.
Oh, I mean, the gas bag? No, I'm sorry. That's different. That's the, what's his name?
Geezer Gensler.
Yeah, Geezer Gensler. There you go. Welcome to the part of the economy where the lights are flickering, the alarms are quietly beeping behind the walls, and Jerome Mr. Burns Powell is standing in the doorway, insisting everything is orderly. The labor market, supposedly the strongest pillar of the resilient economy. Resilient. I think resilient should be our word of the day. Narrative just fired a flare gun straight through the ceiling, and the people in charge are hoping you didn't notice the smoke. For 2 years, we've been force-fed the idea that the job market was booming. Hiring is strong, and the American workers is thriving. All I know is that I know we were force-fed this information because I don't know how long I literally went on and ranted about the labor numbers and how they were so full of shit. And the retractions that they had every single month and the revisions that they had. And, oh, yeah, we made 880,000 jobs, but we had to delete 879,000. Oh, yeah, just those. It's just, but then Mr. Burns Powell stepped up to the microphone and accidentally told the truth. After adjusting for statistical overcounting, yes, they admitted that private sector job creation is effectively zero. Zero. As in, the economy is adding as many new private sector jobs as a cemetery.
Yeah, well, we've been saying that all the job adding that they were putting in throughout post-COVID era were government jobs, not private sector jobs. And then they went in and cleaned all that up and shorted all that back out, and they were overstating that on top of it, and they were adding private sector jobs that didn't exist. Or were being washed out by the sector layoffs in the higher margin, higher pay industrial and finance industry fields.
Bullshit.
The only jobs they've been adding was part-time retail service.
Busboy.
Yeah, which isn't making, or people getting second jobs because they can't get full-time in a lot of them.
Yeah, pretty much. The official payroll headlines still parade around with six-figure job gains like a drunk uncle bragging at Thanksgiving, but Powell's own staff quietly confirmed that once you strip out the birth debt model fluff and the double counting errors, the last several months of job creation look less like a boom and more like a flat line on a heart monitor. And the data backs him up with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. The hiring rate just fell to 3.1%, matching the exact low we hit during the April 2020 COVID collapse. Before that, the only time it was lower was 2008 when the financial system was melting into a puddle. We are now 0.3 percentage points away from a hiring freeze on par with the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. But don't worry. Your favorite headline writers are still chirping about soft landings and a robust labor demand because apparently the only metric they track is vibes. When hiring was this week in 2010, the unemployment rate was 9.7%. Here's where it gets even more absurd. When hiring was this week in 2010, as I alluded to, 9.7%. Today, it's 4.4. That mismatch isn't a miracle. It's a malfunction. It means the job market is deteriorating in slow motion, but the usual warning lights have been disabled. It's like driving a car with the engine falling out while the dashboard insists everything is normal. Weak hiring plus low unemployment doesn't mean strength. It means the system is quietly tightening, freezing, and suffocating beneath the surface. That's not stability. That's a pressure cooker with the lid welded shut. And the quit rates? Oh, that's the cherry on top. It just dropped to 1.9%, the lowest since the pandemic. For normal humans, here's what that means. People aren't quitting because they're terrified there's nowhere else to go. Workers don't cling to jobs out of passion. They cling out of fear. Meanwhile, private sector hirings have fallen to 3.3%, the lowest since around 2010. Employers aren't firing people in masses yet, but they've quietly stopped hiring, stopped replacing, and stopped expanding. That's how you get Mr. Burns Powell, now infamous phrase, a zero employment growth equilibrium. That's central banker code for the job market's dead, on its feet. We don't know how to revive it, and we'd appreciate it if you just didn't panic or cause a fuss. This is the exact kind of environment where households start feeling stuck, wage growth stalls, delinquencies creep up, and the entire system becomes hypersensitive to shocks. Oil spikes, war escalation, credit event, any one of them can turn this slow bleed into a rupture. Because when the labor market loses dynamicism, when people stop moving, stop quitting, stop getting hired, the economy becomes brittle, fragile, vulnerable. And the people in charge know it. That's why Mr. Burns Powell whispers the truth in footnotes while the headlines keep dancing. They're trying to manage confidence, not reality. And this is where the transition begins. Because once you understand the labor market is not strong but frozen, not resilient but stagnant, not booming but quietly suffocating, you can finally see why the next dominoes, the Fed quiet confession, the war-driven oil setup, the metals leverage trap, and the institutional fallout aren't random events. They're connected. They're structural. They're the predictable consequence of a system that's been running on fumes, illusions, and emergency patches for over a decade. Now that the labor market has fired its flare gun, I don't have a flare gun sound effect, let's walk straight into the next fracture point. What Mr. Burns Powell admitted, why it matters, and how it exposes the real state of the economy. The Fed's managed decline smells like a broken septic tank, and Mr. Burns Powell is holding the hose. U.S. economy, $200 oil, zeros on dynamite. If the labor market firing a flare gun wasn't enough, now we get to the part where the smell hits your nose, the part where the Fed and the government pretend they're managing the economy when what they're really doing is managing the decline, and not even well. This isn't a graceful glide path. This is a controlled crash where the pilots are smiling, waving, and insisting everything is transitory, while the wings are on fire. And let's stop pretending the people in charge are confused or surprised. They're not. They're cornered. They're trapped in a maze of their own design. And the only way out is through, guess what? Your savings, your wages, your purchasing power, your future. That's the part that they don't say out loud. That's the part burned under the press conference word salad. But the math doesn't lie, and neither does the smell. The first reason they're letting the slow motion wreck continue is simple. They need inflation more than they need you comfortable. The United States is sitting on a mountain of debt so large it makes Everest look like a speed bump. And the cleanest, quietest, least political, explosive way to shrink the debt is through the financial repression, a fancy term for let inflation run hotter than interest rates, so the value of debt melts away while your paycheck buys less every year. It's the oldest trick in the book. It's the economic equivalent of stealing from you without touching your wallet. And Mr. Burns Powell knows it. That's why he pretends inflation is cooling, while every essential cost in your life is still marching upward like it's training for the Olympics. The second reason is even more pathetic. They can't admit the real labor picture without detonating confidence. Imagine Mr. Burns Powell walking out to the podium and saying, well, hey, everyone, those job gains we bragged about for 6 months, well, yeah, they turned out to be, they were more statistical fluff. And the private sector jobs creation is basically zero. So markets wouldn't shrug. They'd fall to the floor. So instead, they bury the truth in footnotes, revisions, and updated methodologies. They talk in riddles. They hide it behind jargon. They hope you don't notice. The hiring rate is at crisis levels. The quits rate is collapsing, and the job market is quietly suffocating. They know the truth. They just can't afford for you to know it too.
Isn't that pretty much why they move all their obligation debt default zero outs off book for shadow banking?
Of course, they had to.
Because God forbid it was actually on the fucking report record.
I mean, they're not showing that.
I can't have that.
Can't have that out there. You were just asking for it if you're going to put that out there. It's almost as good as the third reason. And the third reason is the most absurd. They're trying to thread an impossible needle. They want inflation not too high, growth not too low, asset prices not too crashing, labor not too tight, because that raises wages, and labor not too weak because that triggers panic. That's not policy. That's juggling chainsaws on a unicycle while blindfolded. Every lever they pull breaks something else. Every fix creates a new problem. Every soft landing speech is just a fresh coat of paint on a collapsing bridge. They're not managing the economy. They're managing optics. They're managing headlines. They're managing the illusion of control. And this is where the against the people part comes in, not in a cartoon villain way, but in a cold structural institutional way that actually matters. When math, not math, actually, we're going to call it math because that's the government way. When math stops working, the system has has to choose who gets protected. And spoiler alert, don't worry, it's not you. Banks, hedge funds, large institutions get liquidity windows, swap lines, emergency facilities, and backdoor bailouts with names so boring you forget they're bailouts. Household gets, we understand your pain, but higher rates are necessary to restore price stability. Pause. Matt, you've known me for a while. The debt ceiling, I fucking said it 1,000 times. Just burn it all to the ground. Burn it all to the ground. You'll grow stronger from the ashes. I swear. I know I said it 4 years ago.
Yep.
I know I did. I mean, there's no way you can't. This is not economics. This is creative writing. This is creative accounting. This is creative legal. I don't even know what creative I can go on with. It's all creative something. Creative math.
It's the kid with the chocolate all over his face that said, "What candy bar?"
Augustus, don't drink the chocolate. Don't you fall down the tube. Augustus. Here's a calculator. This is the new government-based calculator. It says 2 plus 2 equals, and then is there a button that says fish? Not F-I-S-H. It's P-H-I-S-H.
It's not even fish anymore. It's chum. They chop that shit to all hell.
I mean, it could be fish is, but with a PH. That's for half their PhD.
Microfish.
Microfiche. It's another. I wish I recorded.
Or is it macrofish?
What? Hey Brian, what cologne are you gonna go with today? Oh, I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with Sex Panther. It's made from real panther. Ooh, that smells pungent. Stings the nostrils. Brian, I hate to tell you, it smells like straight gasoline. I mean, this is worse than the raccoon that got caught in the copier. This is just terrible. And it only gets worse. Trust me, this doesn't get better.
It was. Oh, shit. It wasn't a raccoon, it was a skunk.
Oh, smells like a turd wrapped in burnt hair. Oh. But, hold on. There's the translation of, we understand your pain, but higher rates are necessary to restore price stability. Translation, we broke it, you pay for it. That's it. When Mr. Burns Powell tolerates a zero growth labor market while still prioritizing financial stability and asset prices, he's choosing a side. And it's not the side of the guy with a 7% mortgage. And if he has a 7% mortgage, I hate to think what points he paid to get that rate. A car loan that's doubled in interest, a credit card balance growing faster than his paycheck. And this is the real managed decline game, not a conspiracy, not a secret cabal, just a system that protects capital first, institutions second, and households last. A system that pretends everything is fine because admitting the truth would cause the very panic they're trying to avoid. A system that smells like decay because decay is exactly what's happening beneath the surface. And now that we've peeled back that curtain on the Fed and the government's role in the slow motion collapse, it's time to walk straight into the next domino, the war-driven oil setup, and the global shockwave it's about to unleash. Dun, 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 dun. The war oil doom loop. How one spark turns Mr. Burns Powell's soft landing into a controlled demolition. See, $200 a barrel. It's coming. Don't you worry. It's going to be here. Now, we arrived at the part of the story where politics, energy markets, and economic fragility collide like a 3-car pileup on an icy bridge, and the people in charge are still insisting that the road is mostly clear. The war oil dynamic isn't some fringe theory or internet fever dream. It's the exact scenario that global institutions, central banks, and risk desks are quietly modeling behind closed doors while the public is told to stay calm. And why? Because they know what happens when you mix a stagnant labor market, sticky inflation, and a geopolitical powder keg. You don't get a soft landing. You get a controlled demolition. And the only question is whether the people running the show can keep pretending they meant to blow up that building. Let's walk through the chain reaction you laid out, not as a prophecy, but as the kind of stress path that risk managers absolutely lose sleep over. It starts with a single escalation, a strike on an Iranian power plant, bridges, or critical infrastructure. Nothing hypothetical about it. This is the exact type of tit or for tat escalation that has been happening multiple times in regions. Iran retaliates, not with speeches, but with strikes on Gulf oil, infrastructures, and the same infrastructures that supplies a massive share of the world's crude. And just like that, oil doesn't drift higher. It erupts. We're not talking $92 or $110 a barrel. We're talking about $160, $200 a barrel overnight because energy markets don't wait for press conferences. The real instantly, volatility, and globally. That's how they react. And when oil goes vertical, gas prices follow like a loyal dog. Suddenly, Americans are staring at $8 to $12 per gallon. And the shockwave doesn't stop at the pump. Everything's tied to energy, food, shipping, manufacturing, heating, transportation, explodes in cost. Inflation, which Mr. Burns Powell has been desperately trying to wrestle back into its cage, doesn't just reaccelerate, it detonates. CPI surges back upwards 8 to 10% or higher. The Fed's entire "we're almost done" narrative evaporates like water on a skillet. Nowhere. Now, here's where the trap snaps shut. With inflation roaring back, Mr. Burns Powell can't cut rates. He can't even pause. He has to hike. And when the Fed hikes into the energy shock, mortgage rates don't inch up, they rocket into double digits. 12%, 13%, maybe more. Housing affordability collapses, buyers disappear, sellers panic, forced selling begins, and the housing market, already wobbling under the weight of high rates, starts to crack like a frozen lake under a pickup truck. Meanwhile, the stock market doesn't correct. It gaps down. Circuit breakers trip. Volatility explodes. Liquidity evaporates. Risk models fail. And the same institutions that spent the last decade leveraging themselves to the moon suddenly find themselves staring at margin calls the size of small countries. Layoffs follow across tech, finance, real estate, construction, every sector that depends on cheap money, stable energy, and predictable demand. And the homeowners who locked in mortgage rates that they could largely afford at 7% now face 12% refinancing costs, shrinking home values, and rising unemployment. They don't sell because they want to. They sell because they have to at any price. Is this extreme? Absolutely. Is it a fantasy? Not even fucking close. We've already seen the opening act, the Iran conflict, and related tensions have already wiped trillions off global markets as oil and risk premiums surge. Banks aren't just monitoring the situation, they are stress testing their loan books for $200 oil barrels. That's not a routine scenario. That's a what if the floor gives out scenario. That's the kind of modeling you do when you're worried the system might not hold. And here's the part the elites didn't plan for. This isn't just a nightmare for the public. It's a nightmare for them. They thought they would weaponize sanctions, manage wars over there, keep energy, volatility, but constrained, and use Mr. Burns Powell as a shock absorber whenever things got too spicy. But energy isn't a side quest. It's the main power cable for the entire global economy. You don't yank on it without consequences. So if oil spikes to $160 to $200 a barrel and stays there for any meaningful period, the fallout hits the top of the pyramid first. Corporate margins get crushed, consumer spending collapses, credit spreads blow out, refinancing windows slam shut, hedge funds, banks, and family offices, those self-proclaimed masters of the universe, aren't insulated. They're leveraged into this system. They rely on cheap funding, predictable volatility, functioning collateral markets, and stable counterparties. A prolonged energy shock plus inflation plans plus no rate cuts equal margin calls at the top, not just pain at the bottom. This is the moment where the illusion cracks. Illusion. The elites thought they could choreograph a controlled demolition, but the problem with controlled demolitions is simple. Once the charges are wired, once the structure is weakened, once the pressure builds, you don't always get to choose when the building comes down. And now that we've walked through that war oil doom loop, it's time to move into the next domino, the metals leverage trap. Aha, our good friend is back. The silver setup, and how a single turn in liquidity can trigger a cascade that hits hedge funds, banks, and family offices right where they're most vulnerable. The silver time bomb. Oh my God. How 2026 is shaping up to be 2011 on steroids, with Mr. Burns Powell holding the matches. And And it only gets better from here, folks. Let me tell you. See, silver's in the crystal ball. Look at all that debt. Look at that bomb. Oh, bomb. Oh. If you want to understand just how fragile this entire financial circus has become, you don't have to start with stocks or bonds or even oil. You start with silver. The smallest, most temperamental, most leverage-soaked metal in the entire commodities complex. Silver is the canary in the coal mine, except this canary is wired to a stick of dynamite, and the fuse is already... And the funniest part, everyone pretending to be an expert is acting like this is some brand new phenomenon. Wow. It's not. We've seen this movie before. It was called 2011, and it ended with silver rocketing from roughly $18 to $49. The financial media screaming shortage, undervalued, to the moon. And then because leverage always gets the last laugh, silver collapsed from $49 to $30 in days, and eventually to $15. A classic blow off the top. A leverage implosion disguised as a market correction. The kind of move that wipes out hedge funds, vaporizes retail traders, and leaves analysts pretending they saw it coming. Now, let's fast forward to 2026. And the setup is almost identical, except worse. Gold has already made its moves. Silver is accelerating. The narrative machine is back in full swing. Undervalued versus gold. The gold-silver ratio must revert. Silver has to catch up. Industrial demand is exploding. AI and solar will drain inventories, and on and on and on and on and on, and bullshit goes. It's the same script, the same hype cycle, the same breathless commentary, except this time the leverage is even higher, the liquidity is even thinner, and the players are even more reckless. And here's the part that most people miss. Silver doesn't top when gold fails or falls. Silver tops when leverage gets too crowded, when positioning becomes a clown car, when open interest rises faster than actual physical supply, when retail and funds are all leaning the same direction like a boat about to capsize. And that's exactly where we are right now. Open interest is rising. Liquidity is thin enough to make a desert jealous. Highly leveraged players, hedge funds, CTAs, family offices are piling in with borrowed money, synthetic exposure, and derivatives stacked on derivatives. Retail is chasing the narrative. Funds are chasing momentum. Everyone is on the same side of the boat, screaming, "This time it's different," while the hull is quietly cracking beneath them. That's how you get the no exit, quote unquote, scenario. The moment when the first real shock doesn't just move price, it detonates forces, unwinds. Because in silver, there is no graceful exit. There is no ordinary or orderly unwind. There is no take profit slowly. There is only panic, margin calls, and liquidation cascades. For hedge funds and family offices, this is the nightmare disguised as an opportunity. If you're long silver with leverage, congratulations. You're riding a rocket with no parachute. If you're short silver into a squeeze, congratulations. You're playing chicken with a freight train. Either way, you're not hedged. You're not diversified. You're not positioned for volatility. You're sitting on a powder keg that doesn't care how many Ivy League degrees are in your risk department. Silver volatility doesn't stay in its lane. It bleeds into collateral valuation. It bleeds into margin requirements. It bleeds into cross-asset risk models. It bleeds into the broader financial system because silver is small enough to be ignored until it isn't. And here's the part that should make every institutional investor sweat through $1,000 dress shirts. Silver is the perfect stress amplifier. It's tiny, illiquid, and hyper leveraged. It moves violently. It forces margin calls. It forces deleveraging. It forces cross-asset selling. It forces banks and funds to dump whatever they can sell, not what they want to sell. And in a world where Mr. Burns Powell has already admitted the labor market is flatlining, inflation is sticky, and the Fed is trapped between recession and credibility, the last thing the system needs is a silver-driven liquidity shock. But I'll give you one right now. How about the price of silver in China versus the paper price at COMEX or the London's Metal Exchange? You're fucked. Period. How about China is pricing it right now at 150 an ounce? And on paper, Matt, I think I saw it for what, 90? Maybe less. When those prices meet, you're screwed. Period. That will wipe anyone out.
The SLN6, which is the July comics for silver, is down to 72.50.
You're screwed. Because you're looking at a price
that's like a 50% haircut.
You're not. You're dead. You're dead 2 times, maybe 3. They just kept killing you. You're not sleeping on something comfortable. Oh, you're dead. I mean, you ain't surviving that.
Isn't any of it anymore.
It doesn't matter anymore? Sure does.
No, I mean, there's no logic or reason to it anymore.
No, none. But here's the thing. That, because of silver, that you wanted those banks on fire? Oh, you got them. Same thing with those hedge funds.
Chaotic's supposedly in a room asking me if you can hear her.
Hell no.
I can't. I don't even see her.
I
Send her the new link.
It says that she's here, but you're under the same speaker as Matt. Maybe. I have no idea. Unmute. Nope. Matt, unmute. And talk. There you go. Hey.
Yeah, I'm here.
Chaotic. You're on mute. Your microphone says on mute. Maybe? Nope. I don't know why.
That's weird.
That's weird.
The channel is me, but then again, I mean, I had the same problem when I first come in. You had to open a new space with me already in the space.
Oh no, I literally had to open up a whole new room. Like this.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. See,
there
you go. It wasn't.
I got it.
Woo-hoo.
Apparently, the microphone setting, even though I've logged into this app a million times, decided to on its own just change the microphone input setting on me.
Listen, I literally I updated a app and it literally caused me to have a megaphone and wah 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 wah
Dude,
for
it sounded like we were in the fucking Grand Canyon. I could hear it echoing back through my phone feed
yeah,
like 4 times.
and I don't even
So
know
I
how
can
I did it.
imagine what he was doing on your end.
Oh, I was just getting mad. You know
Well,
me.
I have big news.
Hmm.
So I spoke to Ben Mesrick again today for the first time in a while. He's got another book coming out about it's a really interesting character. I remember when this story actually happened. There's this like whiz kid, super elite chess player who's been just like demolishing everybody throughout COVID. He was beating people so bad that at one point other competitors started a rumor that he was only that good because he'd shoved vibrating anal beads up his ass and had a friend buzzing the correct moves
What?
to his ass from behind the curtain. It's a really great story. I love that he's doing a book about this because like he covers so many different subjects, and you guys remember he's Dumb Money. He's the one that wrote the book.
I don't know if I want to read a book about a kid, some kid playing chess and with anal beads and they vibrate while for making
Well, that's
right
the
move.
thing. That
Like,
was
that sounds
completely
so
made up.
terrible. That sounds
Like
so terrible.
people were making up the most obscene and ridiculous rumors about him to like explain away why he was beating them so bad. When it turns out he
Is
was
that
just that good.
is that the millennial version of castling?
Kind of.
Might be math. But I mean, I don't want to hear about. I don't know if I'm going to read a book about anal beads and.
It's not a book about anal beads. It's a book about playing chess. That's just one of the
But
highlights
I'm just saying
of all the rumors that were started about him that were inevitably not true. But I think it's funny, like, you guys mean to tell me you can't relate to that just a little bit? Like, not the anal beads part, but the fact that he had critics making up such outlandish rumors about him
I mean,
to explain away his talent.
I don't know. I'm not Gilbert Grape or anything like that, and there's nothing eating me right now. But evidently, I don't know if I want to read about anal beads and
Well,
chess.
we are gonna do a big space for the book release. The book just came out here in the last like 24 hours. I didn't catch it ahead of time, but I also didn't know he had written another book. So we're gonna put together another big space, kind of like what we did for Dumb Money,
Okay.
for this book release. But like,
Can I ask
that's
him
the guy
about the
that wrote
anal
Dumb Money,
beads?
y'all. I'm gunning for that sequel. I was not kidding. Every occasion where I said that.
Can I
what's
ask him
interesting,
about
and
the
I didn't
anal bead
realize
part?
it? There's things going around Twitter about this new movie coming out by that Gem Productions. And it turns out, and I didn't know it, but Gem Productions is the small production company that produced Dumb Money.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Can we ask him about the anal beads as the actual device to like actually make him play chess well?
Well, like that does get like all of the different rumors that were started about him over the course of his like ass smashing career.
I mean,
Were just
I
so
love
off
how
the
you
wall that you just
insinuate
can't
it
help but
more.
laugh.
I love how you insinuate it more, like ass smashing, like you just
Ass
did.
smashing.
You
I don't
like,
know. Whatever the words are for chess players who just smash your ass when they play. I don't know.
Just because you mentioned it, you get the button.
So this is
Hold on.
Rubber ducky, you're the one. You make fast time lots of fun.
Rubber ducky, I am awfully proud of you. Yep. Rubber Duffy.
But y'all, of all the books he's ever come out with, nothing, and this isn't a slight against him. It's really a testament to the power of the ape community and what we're willing to do to support, creators and companies. And the ape movement is a phenomenon unlike anything anybody has ever seen. And there aren't very many CEOs out there that are capable of harnessing that energy in the way that like Ryan Cohen and Adam Aaron has. That's a unique skill set, and they're two very different CEOs, but they've both managed to like master the art form of harnessing the ape energy. And I think that like we blew the doors off of Hummingbird Books for Dumb Money. He had piles and piles of books to sign. I want to do something again in a similar way because I feel like that's such a win-win situation for everybody, you guys. We're helping a small business. We're helping an author that speaks very highly of us and has written critically acclaimed literature that turned into a movie about us. You know, I pretty deeply respect him as a writer, and I'm excited to be working on another project with him like this. But again, you gotta. I'm trying to reel him back in because it looks like things are like we're setting up for that part two that we've been waiting for such a long time, and I want that fucking sequel. GameStop is great. Let's talk about AMC this time. Let's talk about AMC and GameStop together for the sequel, Dumb and Dumber
One thing
2.
I'd say is might be a little early yet.
It is. It is. But that's why this is a. You don't just walk up to somebody and say, hey, can you write a fucking sequel about me either? Like, I'm trying to. Let's refreshify this man's mind into how powerful the ape community actually is. I feel like this is another opportunity like last time where we can have a lot of fun. We can talk about books, which is something that is so refreshing right now. Like, I don't want to hear any more news about war or markets finally figuring out there's something wrong. Like we've known all of this information for a long time. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to hear people freaking out anymore because everybody, I told you so. Told you so 3 years ago. I've never been more prepared for anything ever in my life. This is not my time to be upsetty spaghetti about it. I want to do my book club. I want to have some fun. I want to do some raffles, get some autographed books out there. I think it's going to be fun.
The problem, there's only one problem, and this is coming from somebody that, you know, I took economics and I happen to have a degree in it as well. No one's prepared for this, sweetheart. No one.
I'm about as prepared can get for my standards. I am as prepared, more prepared for this than I have ever been prepared for anything ever in my life. And with as severe ADHD as I have, that is quite the accomplishment. I'm still
happy.
pretty good about where I'm at.
I understand that, and that's absolutely fine. But there's things that most millennials, for the most part, you've been through 3 different market turmoils so far in history, like big ones.
Yeah, man, I'm about to be 39 this year.
Yeah, exactly. So you've been through about 3 of them, and you survived all 3 of them. Now imagine all 3 of those plus the Great Depression combined into one.
For sure. But the thing is, when you know that it's going to happen ahead of time, it puts you in a way more advantageous position than if you didn't know it was coming at all and you're just now finding out.
But the difference is that you never had an oil shock. You never had a silver squeeze. You never have had a deterioration of markets.
Silver squeeze happened in 2011. I caught that one too.
Not like this.
I'm happy for it, man. I'm so prepared for this. I got a little bit of everything. That's all. I've been stacking it away. You know, a little bit at a time, zug style, just stacking it a little bit away at a time.
Trust me.
For when that moment finally happens. And I have a little bit of everything. So regardless of what happens, I'm not going to be disappointed.
I'm happy you feel that way. Honestly, none of us, nor I, have ever been through anything like this before. Ever.
Adventure. This is why I'm the apocalyptimist. You guys, there's going to be something that replaces all of it. And if you kind of align yourself to kind of slingshot into this new era, for better or for worse, is better than just now being the one to find out.
Well, now you can't have a digital currency until 2030. So that can't be created.
It'll be sooner than that. USDC already exists.
But they've already denied it. That's
for right now.
But until 2030.
For right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
for 4 years from now.
Yeah, but how often do they just make shit up as they go along?
I don't think
all the time. All of the time.
But the difference is that you had belief. You don't have that now.
No, that's what I'm saying. You think it's going to happen in 4 years? No, I think it'll happen starting in 6 months. They've been working on it since 2021. I've been watching you guys do it. Don't piss down my back and tell me it's rain. Don't tell me you're going to wait till 2030 because I know you have to do it sooner.
Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yes,
that's okay. I'd rather have a plan than not have a plan.
No, and I totally understand.
I'm prepared to get punched in the face, and then I'm going to laugh at them when they do.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to,
I'm not going to list all of what I have, but I have plenty to rough it out here if the need arises.
Oh, and I get that, and that's fine. I mean, I'm happy you're prepared and all that. It's just trust me, we're walking into a different world here. There's nothing we've ever seen. No one. I mean, the closest.
It's a brave new world out there.
I don't know about brave. I would be more like scared with shit stains, because that's literally what we're about to walk into.
I'm not scared because I don't owe the kind of money Wall Street owes. It doesn't bother me none.
So, but
I really don't care.
Dollar is worth about as much as Venezuelan money is.
That's why I'm saying they're going to have to introduce the digital currency much sooner than 2030, probably by the end of the year. They don't have a choice.
But
we're backed into a corner here.
But that's the biggest problem. You have to have the fiat system works is because you believe that a $20 bill is worth $20.
And now the jig is up. Everybody knows it's funny money. Okay, but everybody knows now.
But what about crypto? People still think that crypto is a little people inside a computer that are just mining. They're mining for digital coins, and they take fake money with more real fake money, and then they roll that into more real fake money, and then you just repeat that.
Well, you won't hear me complain.
Everybody knows the new money system is going to be Pokemon cards. Come on.
Well, all I'm saying is
probably Pokeballs.
You will never hear me hate on the blockchain, because when I was debanked unlawfully in December and January and February by a BlackRock affiliate, again, unlawfully debanked. The only reason I was able to stay afloat was the fact that I had funds invested outside of the traditional banking system. They couldn't touch anything on the blockchain. And I'm so grateful that I had the foresight to do that despite all the naysaying, because that really saved my ass. That and silver.
No, I get that. But you, like I said, you still have to introduce a currency system to the people that make the whole thing go. And
well,
if they don't
think about it like this: how many people are paying with Apple Pay right now? They don't know. They don't. Most people are not handling physical money anymore and really don't care. If the government said, hey, everybody, we're giving out stimmy checks again, but it's going to come to a digital wallet. You got to go download the app. But we're going to give you $2,500 in USDC. Nobody is going to say no to that right now.
No, but does anybody believe it's actually worth that?
Doesn't matter. Does it spend like money? Then it counts.
That's still... You're going into a system where you're not going to believe what the value of money actually is.
It's unfortunate that it's that way, but it's going to be that way regardless of what we do. So get right or get left behind.
First thing I do when they do that, download the app, take the money, and then go fucking
go buy gold.
Spend all that shit on silver.
Yeah, silver or gold.
Exactly. That's exactly what I did the first time. That's exactly what they were complaining about the entire time during the 2021 squeeze. We shouldn't have given them $1,200.
Well, that's why this silver squeeze is about to make people's faces get ripped off. Especially because if China's pricing silver right now at $150 an ounce, and we're at, what did you say, Matt? $78?
Yeah, in that range.
Yeah.
See, that should scare some people, but I tell you what, I sure do have a whole lot of it. That makes me laugh.
I mean, that's the June expiration future premium.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this is nothing. Silver is probably, by the time we get to 2030, silver is probably going to be priced the way gold is priced right now because of the industrial demand for it.
I guarantee you probably by next year you could see it at 120 to 150 an ounce.
I think it'll be that before the end of the year.
Let's just be honest about something here real quick, because the paper market and the physical market are completely detached, and neither of them are reflective of the other. They're not even the same fucking market.
Stratosphere. They're not even close. Not even close.
No, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of how we are able to most adequately value it.
You might as well be trading fart coin.
Yeah.
That's why I tell everybody, Victoria. Like, people are like, what stock do I need to buy to invest in silver? And I slap the phone out of their hand. Like, that, absolutely not. You do not own silver unless you physically have it in your hand and have paid for it. That's it. That's all there is because of how bad the paper trading is. Unless you have purchased and that silver has arrived and you have it in your physical possession, you do not own silver right now.
Agreed.
At this point in time, just pay the fucking premium at the store for fucking have them hand it right to you before you hand over the money.
I would agree with you on that one.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. There are orders not being fulfilled and money, like people are, ordering shipments of silver and their money's getting taken and the silver's not showing up. And then what do you do at that point? You can't just go buy more. You just blew your load on imaginary silver. Don't even think, like, I won't even, no, man. I like junk silver. I have found that one of the best places to buy
At this
junk
point in
silver,
time, you'd be trading wallpaper for silver.
right? Well, better to do it that was the only real effective way to hedge against inflation more than, I mean, if you take your wallpaper and you exchange it for something tangible, then you're in a better position than you were not doing it at all. But I just yeah, I mean, it's going to get crazy. There's going to be problems because even the banks don't have as much silver as they say they do. They've got bags full of rocks in their vaults. I've been laughing about that since 2023. Like bags of rocks. You guys spent all this money on precious metals and you didn't even fucking check it. You didn't even fucking check. You didn't even kick the bag. You didn't even check it. You didn't audit. You didn't do an inventory. You didn't do anything. Like, come the fuck on.
I'm going to read this last part because this part is actually important. So it forces cross-asset selling. It forces banks and funds to dump whatever they can sell, not what they want to sell. And in a world where Mr. Burns Powell has already admitted the labor market is flatlining, inflation is sticky, and the Fed is trapped between recession and credibility, the last thing the system needs is a silver-driven liquidity shock. But that's exactly what's forming. A setup where one sharp move in silver up or down can trigger a chain reaction across hedge funds, banks, and family offices. A setup where the leverage becomes a weapon, a setup where liquidity evaporates, a setup where the smallest metal in the room becomes the loudest alarm bell in the entire financial system. And now that's where we've walked through the silver leverage trap, and it's time to move into the next domino, the institutional fallout, the short trap dynamics, and how this entire mess spills directly into heavily shorted names like AMC and GME. What this means for the heavily shorted stocks like AMC and GME, this needs to be discussed at length because the shorts are trapped. If they weren't trapped, they would have gotten out by now. So AMC and GME will decouple from the S&P 500 and will start going vertically up. Once AMC gets to $5.67, that is an index move to the Russell 1000, and that is when the fun really begins. And now we're going to talk about the house of cards is falling. It's being shoved by hedge funds, banks, family offices, trying not to eat their own leverage. Now that we've walked through the labor market flatlining, the government playing managed decline with a straight face, and the war oil doom loop, and the silver leverage time bomb, it's time to talk about the people who are supposed to be the smartest in the room. The hedge funds, banks, family offices who built their entire financial Jenga tower are now pretending they don't hear it creaking. This is where everything ties together. Labor stagnation, geopolitical risk, energy shocks, metal leverage, and a market already wobbling like a drunk on stilts. And the institutions at the top, they're not sitting on thrones. They're sitting on leverage, explosives, hoping nobody lights a match. Let's start with hedge funds, the self-proclaimed masters of the universe who somehow manage to blow themselves up every few years and then blame unforeseen volatility. Their portfolios are a minefield of crowded trades along the same mega cap tech names everyone else is long, short, the same heavily shorted names like AMC and GME, leverage into corporate debt, CLOs, structured products, and macro trades that only work in a world where volatility stays low, liquidity stays high, and Mr. Burns Powell keeps money printer humming. But in the scenario we've laid out, $160 to $200 barrels of oil, inflation roaring back, no rate cuts, housing cracking, silver detonating, volatility doesn't just rise, it erupts. Correlation goes to 1. Everything sells off together. And when everything sells off together, hedge funds don't adjust exposure. They get margin called. And here's where it gets fun. When margin calls hit, the weakest funds get hit first. They don't get to choose what they sell. They sell whatever they can sell. They dump longs at the worst possible times. They cover shorts at the worst possible times. And those short books in illiquid, heavily shorted names like AMC and GMEs, those become death traps. If they weren't trapped in those positions, they would have covered years ago when liquidity was abundant, when borrow costs were lower, when regulatory scrutiny wasn't breathing down their neck. The fact that short interest remains elevated after years of pain, lawsuits, public scrutiny, retail pressure tells you everything you need to know. They're structurally stuck. Not because they're stupid, well, sometimes, but because their exposure is tangled in swaps, derivatives, synthetic positions, and prime broker agreements that can't be unwound without blowing up something else. Hence, the graph of gold, which we talked about last week. They're not holding strong. They're held hostage by their own leverage. And now let's talk about the banks, the institutions that pretend to be the adults in the room, while quietly juggling more risk than a Vegas card counter. Banks aren't just dealing with loan books full of mortgages, auto loans, commercial real estate, and corporate credit. They're also sitting on massive security portfolio treasuries, mortgage-backed securities, corporate bonds that lose value when rates stay high. They are exposed to derivatives across rates, FX, currencies, equities, and credit. And they're tied at the hip to hedge funds and family offices through counterparty risk. In a world where oil spikes to $200 a barrel, inflation reaccelerates, and Mr. Burns Powell can't cut rates, banks face a nightmare scenario. Credit losses rise. Collateral values fall. Funding costs stay high, and trading books get, well, shredded by volatility. They can't admit this publicly, of course, so they'll do what your context said. They quietly stress test for $200 a barrel for oil and pray those slides never see daylight. Because if investors saw what those stress tests actually look like, bank stocks would fall faster than a crypto rug pull. And then we have the family offices, the ultra-wealthy private casino masquerading as investment vehicles. These are the same entities that blew up Archegos, nearly took down multiple prime brokers, and exposed just how fragile the system really is. Family offices love leverage. They love concentrated bets. They love illiquid assets like private equity, real estate, and private credit. They love complex structures like total return swaps and structured notes that hide risk until it explodes. They thought they could ride cheap money forever, use private markets as a volatility shield, and outsmart the crowd with alternative exposures. But if rates stay high, oil spikes, growth stalls, and liquidity dries up, their entire strategy collapses. Private valuations get marked down slowly at first, then all at once, Refinancing becomes painful or impossible. Margin calls hit the public books, forcing them to liquidate the good stuff to cover the bad. And because they're layered to the eyeballs, they don't just lose money. They trigger systemic risk. This is the part the elites don't want to admit. They're not insulated. They're not protected. They're not immune. They're sitting on leveraged Jenga towers. And every piece we've discussed, labor stagnation, inflation, war, oils, metals, housing, credit, removes another block. They thought they built a fortress. What they actually built was a Rube Goldberg machine of interconnected fragility. And now that we've exposed how hedge funds, banks, and family offices are positioned for disaster, it's time to move into the next domino of short trap dynamics in AMC and GME. The index inclusion triggers and how liquidity crises turn these names from meme stocks into systemic landmines. The ape cage door isn't opening. The hedge funds are about to get thrown through it. Why AMC and GME are the market's final boss. Now we get to the part of the report that Wall Street wishes you'd skip, the part where the meme stocks stop being memes and start being systemic landmines. AMC and GME aren't jokes. They aren't distractions. They aren't relics of 2021. They are the pressure points of the financial system that has been duct taped together, but with synthetic shares, swaps, derivatives, and arrogance. And the funniest part, the people who created the mess, the hedge funds, the prime brokers, the family offices, are now trapped inside it like rats in a maze they've designed themselves. This isn't speculation. This isn't hopium. This is structural reality. And once you understand the mechanics, you realize why AMC and GME aren't just stocks. They're weapons. Table 1, AMC synthetic exposure estimation. Here is this scenario. So the official float, 516 million shares. That is real. Here's the institutional holdings. Lent, estimated 70%. Synthetic shares conservatively. Total effective float and the float inflation. So this is after lending cycles. So after lending cycle 1, 516 million shares. Institutional holdings lent 361,200,000 shares. Synthetic shares conservatively made 252,840,000. Total effective float from 516 now up to 768,840,000 plus 49%. Now after cycle 2, here's the real float. Here's the institutional holdings that have been lent, which is more than the actual float. The synthetic shares that conservatively have been made, which is 429,023,400. The total effective float, 945,023,400 plus 83%. After the third cycle, 661,516,380. Synthetic shares conservatively made 563,206,838. Total effective float 1,079,206,838 shares in an effective float plus 109%. And this is a third lending cycle. Hey, Matt, how many lending cycles are there? Do you know? A possible guess. Maybe. Nope. Listen, they lend shares when they want to. BlackRock, Vanguard, they are the hands behind the whole curtain. When they need to, they want to. Most of the time, lending cycles don't go based upon quarters. They can go monthly. It all depends. Depends on the stock. That's the crazy part. So
it also depends on when the exemption status expires on the fucking naked deliveries that they need to supply.
Correct.
So they have to create naked fucking shares on the borrow in order to fucking lend them out for the interest rate so that the funds can borrow their locates.
Correct.
Close the exemption status so it don't go FTD.
Correct. So, in other words, it's an infinite cycle. You don't know what's, you have no idea. But let's just say, Matt, give me a conservative number. How many lending cycles do you think AMC has had conservatively?
In a year or?
Yeah, in a year. Just 1 year.
I'd say 3, the annual turnover, and probably 2 mid-year turnover.
Okay, so 5. You're saying in a full year?
No, I'm saying 3.
Okay, you're saying 3. Okay, it's realistically probably between I would say 3 to 7, roughly, depending on what is needed. Because remember, even if it's sold synthetic, it still has to match the opposite side. Everything has to equal out. It can't be one that's hanging in the balance. Because FTDs pile on more pressure. So you can't have those. But for this circumstance, I'm going to explain a little bit more. So for AMC, the real float is 516 million shares, but that number becomes meaningless once you factor in Ape. During the Ape era, the market saw volume anomalies so extreme that the only mathematically consistent explanation is synthetic recycling on a massive scale. Even using the most conservative estimates, Ape generated over 1.2 trillion synthetic units, all of which converted into AMC's liabilities during the merger. When you combine AMC's pre-existing synthetic exposure with the Ape conversion, the effective float ballooned to over 1.2 trillion shares, creating a float inflation ratio of 2,328x. That means for every real AMC share, the market behaves as if more than 2,000 exist, and every one of those synthetic units represents a future forced buy. This is why AMC's price action has never matched its volume. This is why borrow data never aligned, and this is why FTD cycles kept repeating.
Can I add to that context real quick?
Go ahead.
So if you think of it as a 30% whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if a share is one of 7 to 10 contracts, and a contract represents 1 for 100, you're talking 1 to 700 to 1,000.
Correct. And I'm not even including the option chain as of right now. You'd be dead. So AMC isn't a stock. It's a synthetic debt bomb. sitting on balance sheets of institutions that no longer have liquidity or collateral to unwind it. None of this is about valuation or fundamentals. It's about structural mechanics and forced buying in a synthetic environment. And let's start with the obvious. If the shorts in AMC and GME weren't trapped, they would have escaped years ago. The playbook is simple. Crush the narrative early, use dilution, negative press, and time decay to bleed the trade out, cover quietly into liquidity, and move on. That's what a clean short looks like. That's what a manageable short looks like. But that's not what happened. Instead, years later, short interest remains stubborn, retail ownership remains sticky, borrow costs remain elevated, and synthetic exposure remains opaque. And regulatory scrutiny has only increased. That's not we're winning. That's we're stuck.
That's the post ape RSM, where we can't tell you how many FTDs there are on our reports reflective. So we're just gonna fucking skip it till we can fucking extend it as a hold to maturity on a fucking swap debt bond, right? And fucking watch the fucking short interest still go up as a representation of the post RSM float, right out the gate, and then just increase from there as time goes on, as we short the underlying down on our newfound release of our exposure to what we already had shorted once before, that's now carpeted in a hold to maturity debt swap term.
The biggest enemy that we've always had and what they've always had against us was time. Time for them to get new liquidity. Time for them to be able to play this game. Time to put us in court. Time to do this.
Time for the Fed to run up a $40 trillion fucking debt ceiling.
Correct. All because of you. Why? Because these positions aren't simple shorts. They're entangled exposures embedded in swaps, derivatives, total return agreements, and prime broker relationships that span multiple institutions. You don't unwind that with a click. You unwind that with a coordination, liquidity, and balance sheet capacity. And guess what? In a stressed macro environment, $200 a barrel oil, inflation reaccelerating, silver detonating, housing cracking, none of these things exist. The system doesn't have the liquidity. The prime brokers don't have the balance sheets. The funds don't have the collateral. The shorts aren't holding strong. They're held hostage by their own leverage. None of this is about valuation or fundamentals. It's about structural mechanics and forced buying in a synthetic environment. This is where the decoupling from the S&P 500 comes in. In a broad market crash, index components get sold mechanically. Passive flows dump everything into or in the basket. Correlation spikes. But heavy shorted names with structural short traps behave differently. When funds get margin called, they don't get to choose what they cover. They cover whatever frees up collateral the fastest. And if those shorts are in an illiquid, heavily watched names like AMC and GME, the act of covering doesn't just lift prices, it launches it vertically. That's how you get decoupling. The S&P 500 bleeds while a handful of names go parabolic. It's not magic, it's not mechanics, it's forced buying in liquidity crises. AMC and GME are the perfect candidates for this behavior because they check every box that terrifies risk managers. They are heavily shorted. They have high retail visibility. They have limited limited real floats once you factor in synthetic and derivative exposure. They are emotionally and symbolically loaded, which matters when panic meets narrative. And most importantly, they are the exact kind of names that funds shorted through swaps and synthetic structures to avoid reporting requirements. That's why the float numbers never made sense. That's why
we're also the only ones that are actually supportive against the crushing blow of the Evergrande Country Garden commercial real estate lease exposure.
Correct. And that's why the borrower data never aligned. That's why the FTD cycles kept repeating. These aren't normal stocks. These are financial sinkholes. And just when you think the situation can't get more unsustainable, the index mechanics kick in. Then there's the Russell 1000 trigger. The moment AMC crosses roughly $5.67, it forces index funds and ETFs to buy, not choose to buy, not considered buying, forced buying, mechanical demand, passive inflows, a structural bid that has nothing to do with fundamentals and everything to do with index methodology. And when that happens, shorts don't just face retail and discretionary buyers. They face index buyers, buyers who don't care, frankly, don't give a rat's ass about valuation, buyers who don't care about narrative, buyers who don't care about liquidity, buyers who buy because the rules say they must. That's when fun becomes a systemic problem. Borrow becomes scarce. Prime brokers tighten risk limits. Forced buy-ins become more likely. Covering becomes a stampede, not a strategy. And now, let's talk about GME, because this is where the numbers get stupid. Here's GME. GME's real float, 304 million. Total effective float. After cycle 1, 202,800,000. Synthetic shares created, 148,960,000. Total effective float, 452,960,000 plus 49%. Here's the original. Institutional holdings lent, estimated 70%. Synthetic shares created, total effective float, plus 83%. I think you guys get the picture. GME is even worse. A synthetic black hole. After 3 lending cycles, GME effective float inflated from 304 million to over 635 million shares. But once you factor in GME's warrants, which create additional synthetic borrow pathways and hidden exposure, the effective float expands even further, approaching 900 million shares on a conservative basis. And that's before accounting for FTD cycles, option hedging, dark pool internalization, and swap-based synthetics creation. No regulation, no prime brokers, no fund can say with a straight face how many real shares exist. In a forced unwind, the only way to close these positions is through massive, relentless, indiscriminate buying. That's why six-figure GME isn't hopium. It's mechanics. When supply is fake and demand is real, price becomes a weapon. This is the same structural setup that turned Volkswagen into the most valuable company on earth for a day. The same dynamic that vaporized Archegos in 48 hours. The same reason prime brokers fear concentrated short exposure more than anything else. GME isn't a meme. It's a systemic vulnerability. And this isn't hopium. This is math. Real math, not math. Math. This is mechanical, or this is mechanics. This is what happens when you oversell a float through synthetic exposure and lose control of an unwind. It's the same reason Volkswagen briefly became the most valuable company in the world during its squeeze. It's the same reason Archegos vaporized itself in 48 hours. It's the same reason prime brokers fear concentrated short exposure more than anything else. And it's the same reason AMC and GME are not meme stocks. They are systemic vulnerabilities. So now that you've seen the trap, you've seen the synthetic mess, you've seen the swaps, the derivatives, the forced buy mechanics, the index triggers, the liquidity spiral, and the institutional panic hiding behind the curtain. AMC and GME are just the opening act, the first cracks in the dam that has been rattling for years, because the real story isn't just two tickers. The real story is the economy. They're sitting inside of an economy held together with duct tape, denial, and a prayer. And that brings us to the part they really don't want you to hear. My final word, where I lay out exactly how labor markets, the Fed, the war on oil, the metals leverage trap, and the institutional fragility collide with everything we just exposed. And I have a new updated Joker Ape toilet tank picture. Dun 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 dun. Toilet tank. It's awesome. The curtain isn't falling. We're just finally seeing who's been pulling the strings. Here's the truth. Laid bare, without sugarcoating, without the corporate PR gloss, without Wall Street spin machine humming in the background. Everything we've walked through, the labor market flatline, the Fed quiet panic, the war oil doom loop, the silver leverage time bomb, the institutional fragility, and AMC and GME's short trap, it all points to one thing. The system is not built for you. It never was. It was built to extract from you, to use you, to keep you uninformed, unarmed, and out of the way. And the people running it, the banks, the hedge funds, family offices, regulators who pretend to regulate them, they've spent decades perfecting the art of hiding their intentions behind complexity, jargon, and expert analysis, quote unquote. But the mask is slipping, the cracks are showing, and the truth is uglier than most people are ready to admit. The labor market isn't strong, it's frozen. A zero growth equilibrium dressed up as resilience. Jerome Mr. Burns Powell knows it. The Fed knows it. The government knows it. They just can't say it out loud because the entire system runs on confidence, not truth. If they admit the real numbers, the overcounting, the revisions, the hiring collapse market would panic. So they bury the truth in footnotes and talk in riddles. They protect the illusion because the illusion is the only thing keeping the machine running. And that machine, it doesn't serve you. It serves them. The government and central banks aren't neutral referees. They're active participants in a system prioritized debt, sustainability, asset prices, and institutional stability over household survival. They will sacrifice the bottom to protect the top every single time. Not because they're cartoon villains, but because the system is designed that way. When the math stops working, someone has to pay. And it never And it's never the people who cause the problem. It's the people who trusted them that caused the problem. The war oil scenario isn't fear-mongering. It's real math. It's geopolitics. It's energy reality. Banks are already stress testing for $200 a barrel of oil because they know what happens when energy spikes. Inflation returns and the Fed gets trapped. Mortgage rates explodes. Housing cracks. Markets convulse and layoffs follow. This isn't hypothetical. It's a chain reaction. And the elites, the ones who thought they could weaponize sanctions, manage wars over there, and use the Fed as shock absorbers, are about to learn that energy isn't a side quest. It's the main power cable for the entire global economy. You don't yank on it without consequences. Silver and other leverage trades are accelerants. They don't give you polite exits. They give you trapdoors. And when positioning is crowded and liquidity is thin, when sharp move detonates forward, forced unwinds, and those unwinds don't stay in their lane, they bleed into collateral valuations, margin requirements, and cross-asset risk models. They hit hedge funds, banks, and family offices right where they're weakest in their leverage. Because here's the part most people don't understand. The elites are not sitting on thrones. They're sitting on leverage Jenga towers. They built a system that works beautifully when volatility is low, liquidity is high, and Mr. Burns Powell is cutting rates. But when the environment shifts, when inflation sticks, when energy spikes, when labor freezes, when metals explode, and sophistication becomes a liability, their complexity becomes fragility. Their leverage becomes a noose. And that brings us to AMC and GME, the pressure points they never expected to matter. These aren't memes. They aren't jokes. These are structural vulnerabilities created by years of synthetic shorting, swaps, derivatives, and arrogance. If the shorts weren't trapped, they'd be gone. They're still here because the exposure is tangled, synthetic, and structurally impossible to unwind without blowing up something else. That's why AMC at $5.67 and the Russell 1000 inclusion isn't just a higher price. It's a mechanical regime shift, forced index buying, reduced float, borrow scarcity, prime brokers tightening risk limits, forced buy-ins, covering becomes a stampede, not a strategy. And GME is the nuclear version of that. The float has been oversold so many times through synthetic exposure that no one can say how many real short shares actually exist. In a forced unwind, price doesn't go up, it detonates. That's why I've said and will keep saying this may be the only time in your life where you get to pick your number, not because the company is worth $300,000 or $550,000, but because forced buying in a synthetic, over-shorted environment has no ceiling. When supply is fake and demand is real, price becomes a weapon. But here's the part I need people to understand, the part behind the curtain that most never see. The banks, the hedge funds, the family offices, they don't manipulate markets. They manipulate people. They deploy shills, influencers, online personalities trained to build trust, infiltrate communities, and erode that trust from the inside. Their job is to fracture retail unity, to sow doubt, to crush morale, to make you question your instincts, your research, your community, your humanity. Because the financial industry's secret ingredient isn't intelligence. It's social inhumanity. It's the willingness to put profit above people, money above morality, and career above community. They've redefined responsibility to mean maximize shareholder value, even if it destroys the very society that makes markets possible. This is why I do this. Not for clicks, not for followers, not to be the hero. I don't want a pedestal. I don't want a spotlight. I want retail to win. I want people to understand the enemy, not the cartoon version, but the real one. The one that hides behind complexity, jargon, and PR. The one that uses social manipulation as a weapon. The one that counts on you being uninformed, divided, and discouraged. My job, the way I do it, the way I believe it should be done, is to arm the retail trader, to expose the mechanics, to reveal the incentives, to shine a light on the inhumanity behind the industry, to help every community in the meme basket family change their financial stars, not because I want credit, but because we deserve a win, because the system has taken enough from the people who actually make it run, because the truth matters, because unity matters, because humanity matters. We're not watching a normal cycle. We're watching the consequences of a system that papered over 2008 with more leverage, papered over COVID with more liquidity, and papered over inequality with narratives about resilience. The bill is coming due in labor, in energy, in credit, in trust. And the irony is, the very tools the elite use to control the system, leverage derivatives, synthetic shorts, may be the same tools that blow holes in their hull when the water gets rough. You're not crazy for seeing the pattern. You're not paranoid for calling it out. You're just not supposed to say it out loud. But I will, every time, every day, until retail wins. Matt.
Well said.
As always, my friend, thank you for joining me. Chaotic, thank you for stopping on by as well. As always, I do have... Matt, I fixed it because I didn't get a chance to the last time. Now it's perfect. I leave you all with Joker Ape.
People love you right up until you stop being useful. You ever notice how fast that changes? Funny how that works. Really funny. They'll clap for you when you're quiet. They'll cheer for you when you're convenient. And they mean it until they don't. But the second you stand up, really stand up, everything shifts. Everything. They start acting like you're the problem, like you changed, like something's wrong with you. No, nothing's wrong with you. You just stopped pretending. And that's the part that scares them. Not you changing, but you waking up. Because the moment you see it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing everything. The way they talk to you. The way they expect things from you. The way they disappear when you stop giving. That's not love. That's leverage. That's dependency dressed up as connection. And once you see that, everything feels different. You feel it in conversations. You feel it in silence. You feel it when people avoid you. Because you're not easy anymore. Because you're not useful anymore. And they don't know what to do with that version of you. So they pull away. Or they push back. Or they try to pull you back down. Back into the version of you that was easier to control, easier to benefit from. But that version of you, that version is gone. That's the moment most people fold. Right there. That's where they trade their backbone for approval, trade their standards for acceptance, trade their value for noise. And they call it normal. They call it necessary. It's not. Not you. No, not you. Because walking with people who don't value you, That's not loyalty. That's slow motion self-destruction. And you feel it. You always feel it. You just ignore it until you can't anymore. And that's when it hits you. It was never about you. It was about what you provided, what you gave, what you tolerated. And once you stop giving it, the whole thing falls apart. Not slowly, instantly, like it was never real to begin with. You don't lose people when you stand alone. You don't lose people when you stand alone. You lose illusions. And yeah, it gets quiet out there. Real quiet. No applause, no fake smiles, no empty speeches, no one clapping for you anymore. Just you and the truth. And that truth, it's heavy. It sits with you. It doesn't leave. Because now there's no one left to blame. No one left to follow. No one left to hide behind. Just you and what you tolerate. Just you and what you accept. That's silence. That's silence. That's where power lives. Not noise. Not approval. Not them. Right there. In that silence. Because when you stop begging for a seat at their table, when you finally stop, you realize something uncomfortable. You were the one bringing the damn table the whole time. You were always the one bringing it. They didn't build it. They didn't carry it. They just sat there, eating off of it, acting like they owned it. Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. Now let's talk about something bigger, because this was never just about people. This is about systems. A system that only works if you keep playing your part. A game where the rules change the second you stop losing. You saw it. We all saw it. They didn't mind you investing, didn't mind you participating, didn't mind calling you retail, like you were harmless, until you weren't. Until your convictions started creating pressure, until your patience started exposing cracks, until your presence threatened control. Then suddenly everything changed. Market stability, liquidity concerns, for your protection. Yeah, protection. Funny how protection always protects them. Never you, never you. And that's when it should have clicked. You are not just an investor. You are not just a number. You are not just volume. You are the engine, the fuel, the pressure, the reason the whole thing moves. And they know it. They've always known it. They just counted on one thing, that you wouldn't. That you'd keep feeding it, keep watching, keep spending, keep participating, even when it worked against you. Complain, but comply. See it, but ignore it. Feel it, but stay in it. But what happens when you don't? What happens when you pull back? When you redirect your time, your attention, your money? What happens when pressure moves? That's when things shift. Not slowly, not eventually, immediately. Because power has never been loud. Power has always been precise, directed, intentional, controlled. You want leverage? Then move like it. Support what aligns. Cut off what doesn't. Be selective where you spend. Be intentional where you engage. Be disciplined when it matters most. Because this was never about noise. It was never about shouting. It was never about chaos. It was always about control. Your control. Your decisions. Your behavior. Your value. This isn't revenge. This isn't emotion. This is alignment. Your money, your time, your attention finally matching your values. And when that happens, everything changes, because standing alone was never weakness. It was clarity. And once enough, people see it, really see it. Not emotionally, not recklessly, but clearly. That's not rebellion. That's not resistance. That's a shift. That's a shift in power.
Yeah. Came for nothing. Nothing. Build this shit up from the dirt. From the dirt. Joker Ape. I came up out of dirt, I was buried alive. Who held you down? Nobody. Had to fight through the pain just to feel I survived. Who you trust now? Nobody. They ain't see all them nights I was losing my mind. Where they at now? Gone. Now I stand on it all, I ain't running, I ride. Say it loud and ride. I came up out the mud, had to carry my weight. Heavy, ain't it? Heavy. Every loss turn pressure, now it's all on my face. Built different, yeah. I was down now, solid on forward, don't break. No, I don't break, never. Everything that I built, yeah, came from the pain. Did from the pain, pain. Look. I remember nights I was broke, fucked up, for real. How it feel? No help, no hand, had to grind that shit up. All alone, yeah. Had dream, but that shit fell far as hell. Still reach, had faith, but the weight kept fucking me up. Heavy, too heavy, damn. People talk, but they never gon' live what I live. They ain't built, they don't know what it takes just to breathe how I did. Hard breath, yeah. I was giving my all, they was taking that shit. Took it off, facts. Now I move like I don't need nobody but me, just me alone. I don't flex out there, I survive what I face. Still here, still. Every loss turned a lesson, I grew from the pain. Pain talk. Now I stand like I earned every scar on my skin. Earned that. Yeah. I don't speak on the work, I just stay in my lane. Stay down. I came up out of dirt, I was buried alive. Who held you down? Nobody. Had to fight through the pain just to feel I survived. Who you trust now? Nobody. They ain't see all them nights I was losing my mind. Where they at now? Gone. Now I stand on it all, I ain't running, I ride. Say it louder. Yeah, I done cried, but I hid that shit deep. Why I hide pain? Had to smile when my world falling apart on me. Fake smile, yeah. They were close, but they switched when it got real. Switched up quick. Now I see every fake when they talking to me. I see all facts. I was giving my heart, they were playing with trust. Broke that. Now I move like I don't give a fuck about nothing. Don't care, nah. I done built me a wall, I ain't letting them in. No entry. If you cross that line, I ain't saying it twice. One time, done. I don't speak on revenge, I just let that shit hit. Let it hit, boom. Call my head harder than I ever could. Always do, always. I just stay in my lane, keep my focus intact. Stay focused, but they stuck in the same place I came from. Still stuck, facts. Yeah. Turn it up, turn it up. Yeah. Turn it up, turn it up. I came up out the mud, I ain't fold, I ain't break. Never break, never. Every loss turn pressure, now I'm carrying weight. Heavy, weight, low. I was down, now I'm solid, now I know what it take. I know now, yeah. Everything that I built, yeah, came from the pain. It came from the pain, yeah. I would fight myself in the dark, no lie. In the dark, alone. Had to face every fear I was trying to hide. Face it now. Put my weight on my chest, I was barely standing. Still stood. Till I showed up every day, I ain't run from life. Never ran, never. I don't trust every hand to reach out to me. Watch, close, watch. Seen too many turn fake when it benefit. Fake love, fake. I was loyal to people that cross that line. Cross me, done. Now I move like I don't remember shit. It's gone. I don't chase, I track with a line with me. Real lonely, real. Stay down till I turn to the wood I see. I did it, Joker Ape, yeah, I built from the pain inside. Pain built. Last stand like another default on me. No, don't touch it. Walking at your mom, we went and talk about it. Sign it. So my suicide feeling gone, go by it. Yeah, but they can't let these ways no bandit. Still, I showed up every day on man, I'm built. Let's get a little bit of feel. Let me launch that, get it, it feel. I move like I people with people to feel.
Yeah. AK.
Let's go!
Ain't no way out, I'm locked in the cage. All the pain turned me into this rage. No way out, I had to change. All this pain still remains. I was broken, I'm fully engaged. Now I move like I'm built for the stage. Through the dark, you survive. Now you rise, still alive.
I was down, now I'm back on my feet. Now they watch every move that I make. Same ones that was doubting my grind. Now they act like they part of the way. I don't trust, I don't bond, I don't fold. I done seen how that fake love go. Had a gut every time that was weak. Now I move like I walk this alone. No.
Ain't no way out, no way out. Locked in the cage, locked in. Ain't no way out, locked in the cage, locked in the cage, locked in. Locked in the cage, locked in. Ain't no way out.
Now it's different, I'm moving with force. I don't speak, I just show it in motion. Everything that I built from the dirt. Now I feel like I'm breaking the mold. I don't fear what I already faced. Now I done been through the worst of the worst. Now I step like I know what it takes. Ain't nobody can take what I earned. Yeah. You hear that? That's pressure. That's pain. Joker up! I came up out the mud, I ain't fold, I ain't break. Every loss turn pressure, now I'm carrying weight.
No escape, no release. Feel the weight underneath. Yeah, now I move like I own every breath. Every step got intent, no regret. I was buried, I climbed out that grave. Now I stand like I conquered the test. I don't speak, I let silence apply. Seen too much just to trust what you say. If you fall, you get left where you stand. I evolved, now I'm built a new way. Every scar turned power in me. Every loss made a monster breathe. Joker Ape, yeah, I stepped out the cage. Now the whole damn world gon' see. Ain't no way out, I'm locked in the cage.
Lock it!
No way out, feel the fight.
No way out! Locked in the cage, locked in, locked in.
No way out,
Locked in the cage, locked in, locked in.
no way out, you will fight.
No way out, I lied, pain. All they turn me in right. That rage. You're alive, you're a fighter. Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel what I feel back then. That version of me don't exist. Had to kill every doubt on my head. Now I move like I can't be touched. I was locked, now I'm locked in control. Every move calculated and cold. They was sleeping, I built in the dark. Now I step in, I take what I'm owed. No more pain, I converted to fuel. No more fear, I ain't playing it safe. Ain't no cage, I can hold what I am. I break out every time that I'm played. Say it with me. Say it louder. One more time. Take ain't no way out. No way out.
Locked in the cage,
Lock it. Ain't no way out. Locked in the cage.
locked in the cage.
Lock it.
Locked in the cage.
Lock it.
Feel the rush, you feel the Feel the pressure, feel the
Yeah.
Pain made you who you are,
Who I am.
who I am.
Yeah.
This ain't survival. This control.